We've talked about big fish already. However, there is one shortfall with that report, and that's analytics applying what's known as a threshold filter. Essentially, when you start to use certain data such as demographics, thresholds are applied to prevent us inferring the interests of individual users. It's a privacy thing. Now that's fine and understandable, but some reports become less detailed as a result. For example, the product performance data is one area that takes a bit of a hit. Let me show you. As you can see, for this time frame there's no product data. That's a bit annoying. Thankfully there's a way around this, and that's going one step beyond big fish and finding even bigger fish, those whales. It's actually quite simple. We create a segment based on AOV, average order value, that is many times greater than the average visitor to the site. I typically start at 3 times AOV. Here's a segment that I made earlier. Just make sure when you create the segment that it's a user-based filter and revenue is per user, not session too. So with the whales segment applied, we can now look at product performance, product category, and brands that these biggest spenders like to purchase. So we've got our data back. Hopping back over to acquisition, all traffic, and channels, you'll notice here that whales account for just 1.2% of traffic in this time frame, but 23.7% of revenue. They really are whoppers. Furthermore, as we're looking at a user, not merely session-based segment, we can see all the channel touchpoints. Notice while display isn't attributed many conversions, it is part of the mix here. If you're applying budget to display ads and not entirely convinced, user segments can help join the dots. We cover attribution in more detail later. Okay, as we discussed a little earlier, we can start asking those questions again of this segment, such as geography, device used, traffic channels, as we're looking at now, and product performance data. We can understand where they come from, where they land on your site, what do they look at, and finally, what do they commit to buying. A little caveat, if you carry a lot of varied branded products, you might want to start with this segment first over the big fish segment, mainly because you can see that product performance data, but otherwise both are very powerful segments for you to deploy.